Now, this next story, I'm really keen to get your take on it. Rishi Sunak's Rwanda admission sparks legal action from detained asylum seekers. Their migrants are seeking redress for immense distress from deportations because they've now been thrown into chaos now that there is the election has been called. He actually said recently as Tuesday, the Home Office's lawyers were fighting legal challenges from detained asylum seekers on the basis that flights to Rwanda were quote unquote imminent and progressing. This is despite the government legal department telling the High Court on the same day that there would be no flights before the election. And depending who Keir Starmer, if Labour gets in, there's going to be no flights whatsoever. Now, these are people who've been rounded up. They're held in detention centres saying they've even sent staff to Rwanda. They've spent millions on this. They've sent staff to Rwanda. But there's not going to be any flights and there's not going to be any work for them if Labour gets in. So,
I tell you what, Trisha, and please, I hope the good people of Rwanda who've suffered greatly over the last 30 years, forgive me for it, but there are one or two people I'd like to send to Rwanda, and it's none of the people we've talked about here, except the people at the very top. Isn't this brutal? We've got people being unlawfully arrested because we can't get away from the fact that detaining a subject in our constitutional monarchy, it's an imprisonment. And it's only in immigration cases. You're not treated as a prisoner. You've done nothing wrong. It's about your status. You're only allowed to be detained if you're either basically a risk of absconding or imminently going to be removed, deported. Now they're saying on the one hand, this is going to be imminent. This is the instructions that the Home Office have, and they're carrying on as if it is. It's all a huge charade. The calling of the election and the timing that's all a ruse as well. Why is it that it's that date and the government had already pegged itself to June deportations? They knew that wasn't going to work. They knew it wasn't going to work. And rather than be found out on a policy that they think might be popular and limit some of the damage, they brought forward this election. Am I the only person saying this?
Listen, Joseph, the other thing and just to add to that, it's almost a year after the royal assent was given from the Conservatives' flagship illegal migration act. Nothing's happened. Now, apparently 50,000 asylum seekers are now in limbo because the government refuses to consider their claims, but has no way of deporting them. There's several legal challenges, am I not right, from the civil servants, because they've been told to go ahead and do this, even though they will break the law and they themselves can end up behind bars for doing it. We know, because the lawyers, and we've covered this for a long time, every step of the way, the government's lawyers have said it's not going to work.
Absolutely.
It's not going to work.
That everybody knows. We keep using the phrase the emperor's new clothes. When is somebody going to say that Rishi Sunak is metaphorically and ethically naked? As far as the Home Office staff claims are concerned, or the civil servants claims are concerned, they won't be asked to do that because the flight's never going to take place. Why are they never going to take place? Because the Tories aren't going to bloody win the election. Everyone knows it, right? But as far as those people who at the moment are living as prisoners, not knowing if they're going off to a third world country, 2/3 of which we've already said will be judged by a process, or historically are judged, statistically speaking, by a process to be genuine, because 2/3 of people are granted settled status of some type. Those people will have claims. It's so obvious. And guess what? For all this grandstanding and baying to the lowest common denominator, not even the lowest common denominator, the fringes of people who want hate to be visited on newcomers in trouble, who appear to be pandered to by the Tory government.
Whatever people
Trisha,
think.
let me, if you will. We're going to pay for this. We're going to pay this money for these claims.
We've already paid millions and millions and millions for the planes that never took off, for the runways that were never done, for the Bibi stock, the accommodation. Someone's getting rich out of it. It isn't the British public, and it certainly isn't the asylum seekers.